Okay. Welfare, I think this we have done. The third definition of economics, which is quite widely, and I would say is very realistic, is economics as a science of scarcity. Economics is a science of scarcity. Things are scarce. Wants are unlimited. Means are limited. We have a problem of choice. We have a opportunity cost. We have 1 hour. Should we study 1 hour or should we go to a party? We have so much labor in the economy. Should we use the whole labor for producing textile products, or should we take some labor out of textile and send them to automobile? But the same labor can't be employed in both uses. You can't have a party and have a lesson. Well, you can, but apparently not. So there is a problem of choice. Man is now primary. Wealth helps him or her. The question is that how to produce the wealth. To produce the wealth, we need to make use of resources. Resources have a problem. They are not only limited, but they also have alternative choices. If I were not working as a teacher, I would have been in a hedge fund. If not there, I would have been working still in Marks and Spencer. The point is that labor is, but I can't do three things together. The idea is that the labor, the land, labor, capital, enterprise, there are four broad factors of production. If you have to put all the resources in some category, then there are four broad categories of resources. It's land, not only what you see, land, the beneath its surface, on top of its surface, and everything on it is land. Labor, all type of labor. It could be blue collared, it could be white collared, it could be any collared, any color or any color. It's part of labor. Capital, the resources, the money, the wealth which you invest. And what coordinates and combine land, labor, and capital is enterprise. So land, labor, capital, and enterprise. These are the four factors of production. They are not only limited, but they also have the alternative uses. It means that if you want to put more resources in one use, you have to take them away from the other. There's a cost benefit. If I withdraw one worker from textile and put him to automobile industry, there is a fall in the production of textile unit. There is a cost. But with that, this person is now working in automobile industry, hence producing more. Is what he contributing is more than what you have to sacrifice, give up, give away in the textile industry. This is a problem of choice. And this is called opportunity cost. You are here. You could be elsewhere. You are not elsewhere now. This is your cost of being here. That is called opportunity cost. Forget about monetary measurement. You are studying here. Some of you have done some, the work shift before coming here. You chose to be here. Alternatively, you could have gone to your apartment and slept. You didn't sleep. Right? The cost of studying, the cost of being present in this session is the hour of sleep you gave up. Hence, there is an opportunity cost of being here. And if you had you chosen if you had chosen to be at home and sleep, then the cost would have been the things you would have missed out here. Even though I have tried to mitigate, reduce your opportunity cost by recording the lecture. But that doesn't mean that you get absent next time, because I would take the picture of you. So I don't take the attendance. See the technology. I don't have to take your attendance. I know who's present. Right? You get the point? And then we get, are you okay with this idea of opportunity cost? There is an opportunity cost of everything. Everything you do or not do would have an opportunity cost. And when I talk about the opportunity cost, it's a tongue twister. We also come across a phrase called production possibility curve. Have you heard about this curve before? Production possibility curve? Haven't you? This is called production possibility curve, which basically means that, I give you same example. We have resources, yeah? Please tell me something about resources. Who are resources? What do we do with them? Can you name the four resources quickly? Which four resources I mentioned? Labor, capital, land, and enterprise. Great. So we have the four broad categories of resources, the factors. You can either put all of them in the food industry, and if you put all of them, you can produce maximum 8 units of food with no textile products. You can see here, when you have 8 here, there is 0 textile or clothing units. Alternatively, you can use all the resources in the textile or in the clothing sector, see the cursor here, and you can produce maximum, with the given resources, you can produce maximum 7 units of clothing, but then there's no food in the economy. Technically, this is possible, but in reality, no country would choose for these two extremes. You don't want to have a lot of food and remaining naked, but then you don't want to overclothe yourself without food, eating anything, right? So the best bet, the best combination is somewhere here. And if you look at the red line here, the red curve, not line, but it's a curve. This curve is showing the production possibility curve. Mark my words. Every point of the production possibility curve, PPC hereafter, refers to the maximum combination of outputs you can produce with the given resources. So for example, if you make a, as I said that, if you put all resources in food, this is maximum of food, no clothing. Or you put all the resources on clothing, no food. In between, you can see here, for example, X combination. X, you can have 4 food, 6 clothing. Sorry, 6 food, 4 clothing. And if you go to Y, you have 5 food and 5 clothing. And if you go to 6 clothing, you have less food now. You have 2 or 3 food. So these are different combinations which you can produce with a given amount of resources. The question is, can you find the opportunity cost here in this picture somewhere? Remember in the previous slide, we talked about the opportunity cost, which means that if you put resources in one sector, you have to take them away from the other one. Hence, there's a cost and there's a benefit. Where you put the resources in plus When you take them away from minus, is plus bigger than the minus? As long as it is, hoover, we all good. But this is the point. I want you to find out that this red curve shows the amount of production which we can produce by combining all the resources at a given point of time. At a given point of time. My question to you is that in this picture, can you find out opportunity cost? Just raise your hands if you can find out. It is there, at least at 2 points, 2 times. We can have more also. Wait, just raise hands. Just raise. Gentlemen in, sorry, I have to address you in yellow shirt. Where you find the opportunity cost? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good. Very good. See here. We were at X. 6 food and 4 clothing. Yeah. Do we all agree? Then we go to Y and we produce 1 extra food. No, 1 extra clothing. Are we still having the same amount of food as before? How much it diminishes? 1. It means that to produce unit of clothing, you have to give up, sacrifice 1 unit of food. That is called opportunity cost. So as you move from X to Y, your opportunity cost of producing more clothing is 1 unit of food, which you sacrifice. But then things become more interesting. See the journey from Y to Z. What happens here? What happens between Y to Z? Mm-hmm. Yep. So this time, you are, in order to get 1 extra unit of clothing, you're not giving away 1 unit of food. Instead, you're giving 2. Giving up. It means that the cost is getting bigger. The cost is getting bigger because this time you are prepared to give up 2 units of food for 1 extra unit of clothing. My point to you, my question to you is that, is the shape of this picture, this figure, is a random thing that just because it was a random thing that it was, how to say it, no. This curve which we have in this picture is concave. Why it is not convex or linear? When I draw the picture, why can't I make it concave, convex, whatever I wish to? Or do I have to follow some principles? But I tell you that there is a strong reasoning for it. Anybody? Any idea? Well, any of you can say. What do you think? Yeah. Yes. Right. Look, I told you something. that the resources are, I paraphrase myself, the resources are not only limited, but they also have the alternative uses. It means the resources can be substituted. I can substitute resources from food industry and send them to textile industry. Can I? But one disclaimer I forgot intentionally to mention is that even though the factors, the resources are substitutable, they are not perfectly substitutable. This fellow who I withdrew from the food sector and sent him to the textile, he can't be as efficient as in, because you see, look, this, I'm talking about the static situation right now. Right now, a few minutes ago, this guy was working in the food industry. I took him away and pushed him in the textile industry. He can't be, he's a human being, yeah? He can't be that proficient right from the word go. It will take him some time to understand the organizational structure, to get familiar with his colleagues. Plus, his immediate skills are in the food sector, not in the textile. So therefore, of course, he can work on the machine, but he can't work that efficiently, which he was doing some time ago. So therefore, the factors are replaceable, swappable, substitutable, but they cannot be 100% substitutable. There's always some friction. There's always some loss. Therefore, imagine if the factors were perfectly substitutable, then this production possibility curve would have looked like a straight line there, linear straight line. If it were so that those people who are working in the food industry, they were like slaves. I made them work in the food industry against their wishes. And the moment I release them from the food and they join textile, suddenly their productivity goes up. If this happens, then the production possibility curve would look like the middle figure, the convex. It could be possible at a firm level, at a micro level, but it will not be possible for the macro level. Macro means for the whole economy. So therefore, the third picture is what is realistic. But don't forget one thing. I'm talking about right now. When I bring those people out of food, send them to textile, I see that they are not as efficient as they were in the previous job. I give them training, they get to know about the system, and then afterward, they start working better. So when I see in dynamic concept, then this picture should not be concave, but in a given situation, the production possibility curve is concave to the origin. The origin is here, 0, and this is concave to the origin. If it were linear, would have been a straight line or convex. So in this picture, you're learning two things. You're learning that you can replace factors, but then be prepared that this substitutability could be not optimal substitutability. All right, and this extra cost, which we end up paying, so your opportunity cost is increasing. From X to Y, it was 1. From Y to Z, it's 2. So you are paying, basically, you are sacrificing more than what you get. This is the idea about the PPC, the production possibility curve. Do you get the idea or not? So it's about resources and allocation of resources to the different sectors or the industries. Yeah. And remember, I'm talking about the macro phenomena. I'm not talking about the one company. or one firm or one unit. I'm talking about the full-fledged economy. It could be possible that for one company, the people who are working, they were more suitable for food, so they were forced to work in textile. And when I release them from their job, they become more efficient. But it will not be possible for the whole economy level. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's true. The point is not that who is on Y or X. The point is that when you're taking the labor away, resources away, the pinch is more than the immediate benefit elsewhere. How? You mean this goes like this? Mm-hmm. 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 No, our assumption is that we start from point A, right? And we are going along the curve. So as you go along the curve, the sacrifice of Y is more than the gain of X. That is the idea. Turn who around in what way? Completely upside down or leftward or rightward? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You mean that if I put clothing here and food here? So then I would still argue that as you give up more clothing, you have to give up more clothing to get extra food. So the point is not, the conflict is not between food and clothing. The idea is that when you take away the resources, oh, what is this? Well, that could be catastrophic. So the idea is that when you take away the resources from the one use and put them to the other, huh? So let's finish in 18 minutes, right? Yeah. Did I say yeah or no? I didn't say you. Yeah. All right. In that case. Yes, it's in the video. Oh dear. Well, see what I would edit it. Yeah. Well, we can have the bloopers or something like that. So this can be used in that. See the point. Before the battery goes off. The point is that here we have the two PPCs. Yeah. The blue one, still clothing, food, and the red one. With the blue one is based on the assumption that the resources are static, they don't change. Now, right now, we can produce with a given amount of resources. But the red one is showing, look at this, 5 years time. In the 5 years time, we may have more labor, we have more capital, we have more enterprise, and our capacity to produce enhanced. And hence what happens? The PPC itself feels a jump. So as we are able to generate, mobilize more resources in the future, the production possibility curves increase. The trajectory remains still the same, concave to the origin, but they might start, for example, in the very early stage of development, the PPC could be here somewhere. And as the development is experienced, economy evolves, become mature, then this PPC go up, 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 up. all right? But in a given time, question is not big or small. The question is that at a given point of time, the TPC is constant because the resources are constant. And once we generate them more, we get more. Here, are we wasting resources somewhere? In this picture, do you think that we are wasting our resources? Yeah. Can you elaborate more? Uh-huh. Okay. Well, we need to go a little bit further. Yes. Well, I asked him, but you started. Okay, carry on. No problem. No. Carry on, carry on. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. We have a, yeah, very good point. Yes. Wonderful. The point here is, yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a resource waste. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Look at this point V here. Let's focus on this. If this is the point, if we choose to have this much of food, then with the same amount of food at point V, we could have had more clothing. And if we choose to have the given clothing, for the given clothing, we could have more food then. So basically, we are wasting either food or clothing, or both, because we are making suboptimal utilization of our resources. And when we make the underutilization or suboptimal usage of resources, that is a economic wastage. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not the units same. Yeah. Yeah. No. It's had nothing to do with the 45 degrees. The point is that some factors are, you can substitute the factors, but not perfectly. And this is why this curve is, it's not the curve drawn with the compass. Because in the reality, the curve could be a little bit overly spreaded on clothing side or more squeezed toward the food side. But the idea is that if you are on this red line, you are making full utilization of the given resources. If you are beyond this line, imagine you can't be beyond this line because your resources do not permit you. They don't allow you. But if you are on this line, below this red line, here you could increase the production of one or both with the same amount of resources. I think if you want, I can quickly